So the way I usually speak is a bit different, but you'll excuse me. I'm doing this because this is a Teddy talk. My name is Teddy Warria. Teddy means divine gift in Greek, and Warria means I'm gifted with my hands in Swahili. I'm the son of the late George and Frida Warria. I'm more of a son of the late George and Frida than a Maluo, which is my tribe in the corrected dictionary, as I was told by Irene. I'm more of a Kenyan than a Maluo. Kenya is a state that became independent in 1964. I'm more of a Kenyan than I'm an East African, which was brought about by the British before 1964. I'm more of an East African than I'm an African, which was one monolithic landmass. But I'm more of a child of God and a child of the universe than I'm all the above. I'm the 10th of 17 children from an polygamous East African family. I grew up in an estate called Buruburu in Nairobi. We grew in a single house in Buruburu, and my siblings are all over the world right now. The reason why I'm saying that is because all that informed who I am or who I became. I became an entrepreneur because in a house of 17 and when you're number 10, you have to compete for limited resources. And because of that, I used to grow rabbits and sell rabbits, and that's the first thing that I ever did. And my elder brother, the late Victor, who died of cancer, I used to wash his clothes and he could pay me 2 shillings. With the 2 shillings, I would buy a queen cake for 1 shilling and 75 cents, divide it into several pieces and sell it at 30 cents a piece to my schoolmates. Now, and since I'm also lactose intolerant at my school, which was a government primary school, I would take the packets of milk provided by President Daniel Arap Moi, right? With that milk, I would put it in our deep freezer, add some cocoa on it and sugar, mix it up, and make ice cream. The local vendors at school used to just sell something called cools, which is just sugared water mixed with sugar. But mine came with milk, cocoa, sugar, and I could sell it at 50 cents per small ice cube bar. So that's some of my genesis of being an entrepreneur. I was born in 1978, and because of the nature of my family, I actually have a sister who was born at the same time that I was born, and but from the first mother. My mother was the second mother, and my father had 3 wives. Now, I left Kenya in 2000 when people were agitating for a new country and a new constitution. So on the slide it's written, until the lions learn to ride, tales of the hunt shall always glorify the hunter. This is because I felt for so many years the narrative of Africa had been written first by the British, secondly by Americans, and then thirdly by the Chinese, as in presently. So I felt we could do something. And we took about 18 months to write this book called Africa 2.0 Manifesto, a vision to transform hope into action. And in it, we said, we are the ones who we've been waiting for. So Obama used this line some time back, but even the line came in 2000 from the Hopi Indian elders, who said, this is the 11th hour. We need not wait any longer, but we must act. So the things that inform my life has always been action. I get things done, and I like doing it with other people. So because Africa is very disjointed, we have about 54 states. Even at some point, leaving Nairobi to Senegal, one has to go, say, through Paris. And last year, there was a big problem with Ebola, and we're doing an event called Africa 2.0 Leadership Symposium. And it occurred to us that people weren't willing to go to Ghana because they thought there was Ebola in Ghana. But because one of our beliefs is solidarity with Africans, we went to Ghana, and actually about 600 people came through. And in terms of trying to change the narrative that the media had on Africa, we rallied about 85,000 people who actually supported our cause on Ebola, and within time, these West African countries received the necessary support. So Africa 2.0 is there to create prosperous and inspiring Africa within the next 20 years, from 2010 to 2030. It's in 33 countries in Africa, and it was founded by Mamadou Touré, and I'm also one of the co-founders, and I represent Kenya. So one of the other things that we have done is that we have created Startup Africa Weekend, because we noticed that you can't make change in Africa if you don't have money. So last weekend we did a competition in Ghana, supported by Steve Case of Case Foundation, where the winner got 25,000, and it was also done in Nigeria a couple of days after. This was in light of the Global Entrepreneurship Week having been done in Kenya recently by President Obama. And the reason too that I mentioned his name is that we were very fortunate to compete for a USAID grant to form, to be part of the organization that will run President Obama's legacy plan called President Obama's Young African Leaders Initiative, which was a 38 million competition that is a Global Development Alliance that we were part of, and that we ended up winning. So we're setting up centers to teach public management, entrepreneurship and civic education in Ghana and in Dakar, and we're partners also in Nairobi and in Pretoria. So that forms the basis of my story, and we also are running now a campaign called We Are One, meaning that from all the world and from all over Africa, we are connected to make a change, first as individuals, and secondly as coalition of the willing. And the reason that I began doing all this is simply because before I left Kenya in 2000, we had a problem where our President Arap Moi was autocratic, but he's also the same guy who used to give us the milk. But more than that is that my friend Raila Odinga championed to get a new constitution in Kenya, which is in 2010, which ushered in a devolved system in Kenya. So in Kenya now we have a devolved system, which is addressing the biggest issue we have in our country, which is of ethnicity, as a negative ethnicity. I come from a tribe called the Luo, which also Obama father happens to come from. But more than that, a lot of our leaders have been assassinated, from Tom Mboya, the person in 1969 who helped bring Obama's father here. He was assassinated in 1969. Our foreign minister in 1990 was assassinated after George H.W. Bush said he is called Dr. Robert Ouko, that he should be the president of Kenya, but he says it in President Arap Moi's face. So he was also assassinated, and that brought the clamor for the new constitution that we now have. So the whole thing came under a regime of something called the Orange Revolution, led by Raila Odinga. And right now, Africa 2.0, which is the organization, we are working closely with the youth, women, diaspora, and technology to be the levers of change within the next 20 years and in the coming election of 2017 in Kenya, which you want change to prevail. Thank you.